Tuesday, January 10, 8 p.m. Eastern. You know what time it is, everyone. You know who we are. Sports with Rich here live on the SLG Network and my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe, and welcome. I'm Rich Mancuso. There's my young protege, the co-host, Robert Rizzo, each and every week. And, of course, we're coming to you live, real-time live. And we have a full 2 hours ahead. And we're going to have NFL, big part of this program, Major League Baseball, as it continues. We'll talk at that right away in the moment. Nobody beats the Wiz later on. Of course, great fact of the week, every week that I do. Social media handles that scrolled at the bottom of the screen. Ring 786 at Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. And that's NewYorkSports.com, LatinoSports.com, where I write for. Let me bring him in. Here's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo, who I no longer see. He's like what I call an omniscient character at times. But here he is. Hello, Wiz.
I'm back. Sports with Rich, as always, SLG Network. How's everyone doing out there? Thank you for joining the program. And obviously, we're a sports program, but let me just start. 24 years ago to this day, greatest television show, arguably, The Sopranos released, and my favorite television show, so I just had to point it out there. But let's get to the program. Hope everyone's doing well.
The Sopranos was my favorite as well.
There we go.
So, I never missed an episode, and it's still, to me, one of the all-time best. And know some of those actors in that program as well was big sports fans as well, those guys that played that are still alive. Many of them have passed on. Anyway, yes, let's get to it. And again, reach us in the queue all night long. Comment and also questions. We'll get to them as much as we can when they come in. Sometimes we delay it. It gets delayed. We apologize if that's an oversight. We will get to it. But enough of that nonsense. And we got to get to what it didn't ruin my day, but it changed my whole complexion of a day. Because late this morning, Carlos Correa, and I didn't doubt this, quickly talk about it now later on with Billy Coppola, our baseball analyst. And look at this, Carlos Correa, back with the Minnesota Twins after all of this, with the Giants and then the Mets passing two physicals, he ankled the leg, whatever the concerns. The Mets said they were taking a risk if they let on this contract, lesser money. Correa, super agent top Boris. You'll see my column up on NewYorkSportsToday.com within the next hour, discussing the entire situation in depth and detail. Basically, we know what happened. Correa took less money, but maybe not that much less when you look at it, figure it out. And he's now where he was, the Minnesota Twins, Wiz.
Yeah, biggest surprise of the offseason so far. Who would have known a player could sign with three different teams throughout an offseason? But hey, that's Carlos Correa. He signed 6 years for $200 million with the Minnesota Twins, 4 vesting years on top of that, adding to $70 million total. So just like that, it started at $350 with the Giants, down to $315 to the Mets, and to $200 million plus with the Minnesota Twins. That's where he started off this season. So look at that. It's a big surprise in the MLB offseason.
And Met fans shouldn't cry as much as they wanted this and anticipated Correa in that lineup with Jeff McNeil, Peter Alonso, and Francisco Lindor, who wanted his friend there in the infield with him. Now, look, the Mets have won 101 games last year, as you'll read in my column later on, post on New York Sports Day. Mets won 101 games without Correa. The Mets did well without Correa. They had a great offseason, and it's not going to end. There's going to be more. Steve Cohen is an aggressive spending owner, but also a very, very conscious and owner that knows what he's going to spend on. That's what made him so successful as this multi-billionaire financial market and whatever he is, investor with his company. Precaution here by the Mets, the new hierarchy, Billy Epler, the GM and whatever, playing caution. They didn't want to give this huge contract to Correa, knowing fair well was 12 years or 13 with all that money, as something might go down the line, go wrong as he gets older in age with a big contract like that. So the Mets protected themselves. Wiz, they did well with this. Good decision, as much as we wanted Correa here, as I said. But the Mets now have more money to spend if they want, and they won't end because they were in the market. Maybe they even get Brian Reynolds from the Pirates, be the old-fashioned trade. They can get someone to man the bullpen, another arm, maybe Zach Britton, and they can also look at getting what they need the most, a potent bat in the DH spot, which they did not produce well with last year at all. I'm not crying about it.
No, I totally agree. The Mets dodged a bullet here just for the 10 plus years on a contract. They already have that with Francisco Lindor, 35 plus million a year. So overall, you look at this move, and we said it from the jump. This was a move over luxury more compared to necessity. When you look at everything, Eduardo Escobar, Brett Beatty, and Luis Guillorme are the starting third
Right.
baseman. Those are the options right now. And obviously,
And their
Carlos
natural
Correa.
third baseman, Correa, was going to shift over to third. Exactly.
Exactly.
And
So
as much as Correa wanted to do that and consent to that, the Mets have that young prospect Beatty, who was injured late last year. High hopes with him. And Francisco Alvarez could get that shot, the young catching prospect. He's in the mix now that could definitely make this roster.
there you go. And honestly, since the postseason to now, they've had massive additions with Justin Verlander, Brandon Nimmo coming back, Edwin Diaz. So overall, as much as they might not be the favorite to win the World Series, they're in that mix. They're in the top five. So as much as they lost Correa, they're still in the mix with everything going towards 2023 and especially the postseason.
Well, Correa or Correa not, the Mets, to me, was no guarantee to win the World Series. I mean, you have a veteran, as we talk about all off season, even with Verlander and Scherzer, veteran pitchers, a veteran still type of team with some youngsters mixed in. No guarantee, but again, they won 101 games last year. Not many names have changed. Remember, Marte's still in their lineup as well. He's in production, and Escobar now will have that role unless something else happens. And we have learned that Steve Cohen and his hierarchy of the New York Mets at Citi Field are not hesitant to make the right move to look at making sure they appease a fan base that's dying for a world championship again. All right, more with Billy Capola on this later, plus much more baseball news. It is the NFL. It is the height of the NFL season now. We go into the postseason. And first, let's talk about this remarkable recovery from Damar Hamlin. Good news. We all know the story. He's back home in Buffalo in a hospital. There is going to be a lot of care for him. He's no longer critical, but he's being watched every day. A lot of rehab involved in this. Will he ever play an NFL football game again? We don't know. The great news is we all smiled with all the tweeting he did from his hospital bed in Cincinnati. We all smiled. We saw what happened in Buffalo this Sunday. And what a storybook to that game, wasn't it, Wiz? And the opening kickoff by Nathaniel Hines, the opening kickoff, and later another return TD. Couldn't ask for better than that.
You couldn't ask for better than that. And not just football, that's a sports story. That's a life story. To start off like that, a kickoff return to start off the game, and then another kickoff return in the third quarter, 96 yards and 101 yards. And to add to that, it was the first Buffalo Bills kick return in 3 years and 3 months. What number does Damar Hamlin wear? Number 3. So it's just life and sports connects at the weirdest possible times. And there you go. It happened this past Sunday.
I don't know about you, Wiz, but when I was watching that on Sunday, it put a tear in my eye, both eyes. It really was. To see the fans in Buffalo, how they reacted, and, they were all somber. Everybody was. And then to see that how the game started off, and it just like, you got to believe in fate. You really do.
Exactly. It was a beautiful event overall, and not just in Buffalo. For the NFL to come as a whole together across the world, number 3's worn across the world with the patches, number 3's at the 30-yard line. So just a tremendous day for the NFL on Sunday and throughout this whole week, the last 8 to 9 days with everything going on.
And the continued recovery and prayers from everyone for Damar Hamlin. That will continue. He has now become, I would say, an icon. Maybe not a hero, but this marvelous story and a name no one will ever forget in sports annals in years to come. And certainly good news. And the NFL postseason is shaping up now, and we can get back to full business. Everybody on the same page with Damar Hamlin, still in their thoughts. And 6 games in the opening round, rematches from the regular season, which makes this even more interesting. And Josh Allen and the Bills headed to the postseason with that good feeling as the number 2 seed in the AFC. No Patriots and Bill Belichick for a change. as they are regrouping, obviously. And so we have this. After 276 games, 14 teams looking now as the last two standings get February 12th, Super Bowl Sunday. And it's shaping up like this. We can take a look. Do we have the brackets now, or are we going to look at this right now? There's the wild card. Wiz, comment as we go along. NFC Eagles, the number one seed. The AFC champs, the Chiefs, number one. And you have what I look at number 5, Jacksonville out of the AFC hosting the Chargers Saturday night, and the third seed Bengals looking to return back to the Super Bowl under the quarterback Joe Burrow. And then you have that NFC picture with the Cowboys at number 5 seed struggling as they go in the playoffs, and then you have the Giants and the Vikings, a rematch from Christmas Eve. The Giants back in after a long absence. And it is going to be the 49ers, the number 2 seed, I believe, in the NFC to watch, versus the Seahawks, who snuck their way in. And the Packers and Aaron Rodgers out. And the Packers, questions about Aaron Rodgers, was at his last game on Sunday against the Lions, who played the spoiler. But, Aaron Rodgers did it again like he did earlier in the season. The interception killed him down the stretch.
Definitely down the stretch, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers got killed against a division rival like the Detroit Lions. But to go back on that impressive slate, there's 6 games going on. 7 teams this postseason have 12 or more wins. The Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs are off this week. They're waiting, sitting at home, watching all these games go down. And for the gamblers out there, Seattle enters this game 10-point underdogs against the Niners on Saturday. Chargers at Jacksonville. Chargers are a slight 1-point favorite. Let's head into Sunday. Miami at Buffalo, 11-point favorite for the Bills. Giants at Minnesota. That was a tight game back in week 15. Vikings are 6.5-point favorites. Ravens at Cincinnati. We just saw that basically a week ago, 2 days ago, literally. 6.5-point favorites for Bengals. And to close it off, Monday Night Football, you got Dallas visiting Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Cowboys are favored by 3 points.
Need I ask, who are the final 2 standing in February Super Bowl Sunday? And I'm not going to tell you because you never know. It's the NFL postseason. Whoever's going in with momentum can go pretty far. But you got to like the Eagles out of the NFC and the Chiefs out of the AFC. They seem to be like the 2 most dominant teams throughout this 17-game schedule of a season. Wiz, watch the 49ers. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. But then the coaching carousel, and it's always a Black Monday. And we know your team, the Bears, right, lost.
Yep.
Whether you want to call it cash, with it banking it or whatever, but that cost Levy his job, Lovie Smith his job over
with
in Houston with the Texans. Yeah. And so they were 1 loss away. They could have been the number 1 pick. What were your thoughts on that?
I was hyper as heck leading into Sunday afternoon with the Texans beating the Colts in that comeback. I believe there was 20 seconds left and they scored. So just like that, Texans fighting for that last win in game 17. And you just love it as a coach. That's what you prepare for week in and week out. You go to prepare to win games. That's the only thing you're concerned about. Meanwhile, the Bears, this whole occasion, this whole season, it wasn't about winning. It was about developing the quarterback, which they did, and at the same time, getting the draft picks that they need. And to get the number 1 overall pick, right now, we'll talk about it later in the program and later in the future weeks.
You're a Bears fan. We know that. The Bears are your team you root for. You have a quarterback, Justin Fields. I don't think they'd be looking for a quarterback because Fields is their guy, but you could work around other avenues to make that team better with a better future.
Definitely. And honestly, they're not even going to use the number 1 pick. I believe they're going to trade it before April comes around and get a massive haul for it, because just 2 to 3 years ago, we saw the Niners and draft Trey Lance for 3 first-round picks just to switch 2 different spots. So number 1 overall pick, that's going to be 4 to 5 picks and maybe a player in that haul.
And the team I root for, the dysfunctional misfit Arizona Cardinals, look, granted, sustained a lot of injuries, including with their quarterback, whether it was Hopkins out starting the season late, whatever. Any number of obstacles prevented this team from being any threat at all this season. And the result, a coach who came in, did a respectable job in the first part of his reign, was one of those coaches to get the act Kingsley out with the Cardinals, along with the GM. And now they'll be searching for a new GM and a coach. Who would be, God only knows. But, that team is dysfunctional, and it's a total revamping of that organization right now, which is quite disappointing in the desert.
It's quite disappointing for any Cardinals fan out there, especially you, Rich. You've been tuned into them all season and multiple seasons. So
agony every week.
They're one of those franchises. They haven't had a head coach for more than 6 consecutive seasons. So it's an influx from the organization top down. And just like that, maybe college coaches don't fit that NFL blend other than Jim Harbaugh.
No,
he proved
different
it.
game.
Other than
right.
that,
you're right.
It's a college game, and it's a totally different step in the NFL.
And you're also learning that if you have to have a quarterback that you have to develop, and the Cardinals obviously thought they had that with that guy. Look, I don't even want to talk about them. Their history. It's going to take a few more years for them to get back on top. They have the places. They have it. They do have the pieces, in other words, Wiz, but they're a long way for getting back to where they were. You're talking about a team that went to the Super Bowl only a few years ago.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Now, on the other hand, look at what Doug Peterson has done with Jacksonville. The Jaguars, to me, momentum, as I said earlier, and a team that could make a big impact, deep run in the NFL postseason right now. Coach of the year to me, Doug Peterson, what he's done with this team, first time since 2017. They're hosting the Chargers in the wild card game, and they handled the Chargers handily twice this season. 2 games, 38-10 in week 3 also at SoFi Stadium. So you got to like Jacksonville's chances in the wild card round.
Definitely. I love Jacksonville's chances. Trevor Lawrence versus Justin Herbert. A lot of points going to be scored. Doug Peterson has these guys bought in from the preseason to now, making the postseason for the first time since 2017. 9-8 this first season with Doug Peterson. They had 10 wins combined in the last 3 seasons. So you immediately see that impact. And heading into the postseason, he's one of 4 coaches right now with a Super Bowl title. So he knows how to win. Honestly, it's a new regime and everything, but he's one of 4 head coaches in the postseason this season with a Super Bowl ring. So you got to give it to him.
You know what I like? He's developed Trevor Lawrence into a great young quarterback with a greater future ahead. You know how I feel about Trevor Lawrence. And I've been talking about this week after week on the program with, it, everyone knows it, just developed and got better and better week after week. And I think that's going to continue. I know it'll continue now in the postseason. Now, look at the Giants and what they did and their first-year coach. He could be coach of the year.
I think so. He's the front runner right now on all betting networks. He's the front runner, but he's led this team to a 9-7 season, 9-8 season overall. But he has these guys bought in, similar to Doug Peterson. The Jaguars and Giants, especially the Giants, they don't have a lot of talent on both sides, but it goes to show you how important and how significant the coaching is throughout the weeks, throughout week 1 to 18 and the postseason.
Daniel Jones has also developed into a nice young quarterback in his 3rd year. A lot of doubt, skepticism in the New York area about Daniel Jones leading the Giants. Look at it. Look at what he did. The Giants got off to that good start, floundered a little bit, but became the number 6 seed in the NFC. Daniel Jones. And on the other side, in Philadelphia, got to question Jalen Hurts going into the postseason with the Eagles at the number 1 seed, Wiz.
Yeah, you got to question Jalen Hurts right now going into the playoffs. It's clutch that they got the number 1 seed because that's 1 week off so he can rest, look at the playbook, and just figure it out. But honestly, he looked like the normal Jalen Hurts, poised in the pocket last week against the Giants. But at postseason, different animal. He saw it against the Buccaneers in the wild card weekend last year. So let's just see what Jalen Hurts and the Eagles can do. This is their season because the quarterback play in the NFC ain't that shiny.
No, No, and the quarterbacks to watch beside him, Burrows again with the Bengals, Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. He's been there, had another MVP type season. I think he could end up being the MVP again in the NFL. And of course, Josh Allen, who we talked about with Buffalo, and Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, where's Trevor Lawrence? One that I'm going to be looking at. I think the entire NFL world will be looking at, and sports world, what Trevor Lawrence would do with the Jaguars. So the Chiefs are the number one seed. Patrick Mahomes, the league leader in scoring. The only thing I have concern about the Chiefs at the first round bye is their kicking game tied for 30th in the league. That may be a major stumbling block for this team.
Definitely, and I agree with that. Special teams is so significant in the NFL playoffs. We saw just this past season, the Green Bay Packers, I believe in the NFC Championship or one round in the playoffs, special teams mishap cost them the game. It cost them their season. So just like that, as much as you might have Patrick Mahomes under center, if your special teams ain't right, you're not advancing to the AFC Championship, let alone the Super Bowl.
That I didn't know until this morning when I saw that, and I didn't realize it was that bad. That's awful for a team that got the first round bye and best record right now in the AFC. On the other end, too, now we look at Geno Smith, his comeback player of the year, definitely to me, with the Seahawks getting them in. They got the 49ers are the wild card here, and you got to look at the 49ers and also the Seahawks. This game does have some good drama to it. And the Seattle the defense though for Seattle sometimes seems to struggle. That's a concern there. Whereas the 49ers with a quarterback who came out of nowhere is becoming, to me, a major story going into these playoffs in Purdy.
Definitely. Brock Purdy versus Geno Smith, just like we all written it up in August. We all planned that out, but never mind. This is a divisional game in January for the playoffs. Anytime you get Seahawks 49ers in the playoffs, you know it's going to be an elite matchup ending in the fourth quarter, perhaps overtime. Geno Smith leading the way, passing Russell Wilson and leader for franchise passing yards for the Seattle Seahawks in one season, 4,282 yards, let alone with 30 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's what got them into the playoffs. Those 30 touchdowns are clutch, but minimizing the turnovers. 11 interceptions for Geno Smith. Jets fans wish for that.
I should have known to let him go, but then they can't retain a quarterback. Another note here is that the Niners defeated the Seahawks twice this season, 27-17 and 21-13. So look into that if you're planning to put anything on that game, you know.
That's a really good note because that's a great note because it's tough to beat a team twice in a season. Now add 3 games, and I bet that the first game was in week 10. So that's 3 wins in the matter of 2.5 months. So just like that, that's really brutal for the Niners, as much as they're a gauntlet on both sides.
It is. But I still look at the Niners as being a team to watch here in the wild card and maybe going pretty far. I like what they do. I like the way Purdy drives them down the field. I love that in a quarterback. And you're talking about the Jets. The drought continues. They're not in the postseason. Again, Jet fans are looking for the coach to get fired. The GM, now they got another year. No doubt they can have another year. Who quarterbacks this team is the question. Zach Wilson said they're going to have to fight me to get it next year. Who knows? But what is it with Garrett Wilson? What type of year did he have for the Jets?
I believe Garrett Wilson was one of maybe 4 or 5 shining lights across the Jets this season. A rookie stud, I believe the 11th overall pick, finished with 1,103 receiving yards with 4 touchdowns. We've been talking about it every week. The Jets quarterback play has been putrid throughout the whole season. For him to finish with 1,100 yards between 4 different quarterbacks, let alone maybe, I believe 3, but maybe 4, he had 300-plus yards throughout this season. The future is only up for Garrett Wilson and the Jets. They finished 7-10, but they finished 7-10. But the biggest thing was they had no touchdowns scored in the last 33 possessions.
And why is that? No
quarterback. Exactly.
Of course not. Of course not. You need a good quarterback. Winning teams have that. The Jets can't find an answer every year. And that's why their fans are in agony, losing more here than I already lost. What is the NFL draft? We talked about it. And let's take a look at it. All right. Before Avery, our great producer, puts this up, and we're going to go over this draft order real quick. And there you go. The Bears, Houston, and look at the Cardinals. They're third. And go down that list. Each one of those teams has particular needs. And I'm looking here. Again, Bears don't need a quarterback, so I don't know what they're going to do. I think Houston needs a little of everything. Cardinals need to revamp completely, so they're going to have to draft heavily. And Indianapolis, the Colts, one or two good players maybe to get them going again strong. And, even the Raiders are on that list, and they're picking pretty low at 7th. What do you make of the order right there?
Right now, I potentially see it changing within the next 2 months with all the trades going on and scenarios. But honestly, the top 5 with Chicago, Houston, Arizona, the Colts, and the Seahawks, there could be 2 teams, maybe 3 teams in that 5-team scenario that need quarterbacks: Houston, Indianapolis, and Seattle if they don't want to stick with Geno Smith. But you got a lot of picks right there because C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levy from Kentucky. So 3 options right there. I believe they'll get picked within the top 15 for sure, and maybe the top 10.
Yeah, the quarterbacks will go. Some good ones again this year in the draft coming up in April. Before we close out this part of the NFL segment, which we'll talk a little more about later, I'm sure. No picks, though, but I want to get some picks real quick. Who do you like in Wild Card Weekend leading up to Monday? This is going to be like 3 days of nonstop football.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild weekend of nonstop football, 6 games.
So who do you like? Because you're a pretty good odds maker. You're a pretty good picker.
Right now, I'm taking the Niners over the Seahawks. I'm taking the Chargers over the Jags. Bills are going to steamroll the Dolphins. Giants, Vikings is a toss-up in my opinion. Bengals over the Ravens. And to finish it off, I'm going to take the Cowboys over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. I believe that's an upset because Dak Prescott being Tom Brady, oof.
No, out of those picks, I like the Vikings losing to the Giants. I like where the Giants are right now. They're in a good spot. And I like the Giants to win that one, coming off the Christmas Eve loss. More about it later, but let's look at this briefly recap. A college football championship game last night that I tuned off in 10 minutes. And Stetson Bennett, back-to-back since 1990 now, we have a champion in college football, that being Alabama. Yeah, Nebraska do it. And you had a no contest, 65-7 first. I mean, come on.
It was disgusting to begin with. The game was over in the first TCU, 5 minutes.
How TCU got there was winning comeback games. And then when this bowl committee expands, the college championship series expands with teams, I believe, next year or the week after, you'll have other teams that should be in there. We'll get that shot. Not saying that TCU didn't deserve it, but come on, 65-7. Stetson Bennett, midway to third quarter, as many plays, 45 as he had, with points, as the team had with points. 17-point first quarter, among other records that were established last night. And Stetson Bennett, 2093 career ends as a college quarterback. What can you say? Alabama's going to be favored to maybe do a repeat next year.
Yeah, Georgia's been back-to-back champs, possibly the three-peat going into next year. 65-7, 289 yards versus 188 yards. TCU had this game lost from the beginning. Stetson Bennett led the way for the Bulldogs, 304 yards, responsible for 6 touchdowns. He got benched, I believe, in maybe 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The game was over, like we said.
Honestly, how long did it take you to tune that game off?
I was zoned out maybe midway in the second quarter, just like that.
Yeah, I was flipping with Monday Night Raw, but then I would stick with this game. Then I'm seeing the score. I'm going, this ain't no game. This is going to be a record number of points. You could tell it was coming, and sure it was with Alabama. Back-to-back college football championship. Right, Georgia. They're in the class still with Alabama that's done this before, including the coach Kirby Smart, who took over for Nick Saban and Alabama, and is now one of those coaches in college football that's going in the record books, and also maybe in that Nick Saban category, a Newt Rock, whatever. He is becoming a college football icon coach. That's how I look at it.
Definitely.
Kirby Smart.
He's becoming an icon. 47 years old. He just achieved his second national championship. And since we're comparing Georgia and Alabama with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart has 2 titles at the age of 47. Saban didn't win his second national championship until age 57. So Kirby Smart got a long way to go to complete the resume over Saban. But hey, right now, 10 years sooner than him, let's go. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs are on it.
Okay. Georgia, number 1 next year going in September.
Georgia's definitely number 1, and they covered the total. The total was set at 62.5. They covered the total by themselves. They scored 65 points. So that just says it right there. Just a complete juggernaut on defense, on offense, and the special teams. They did it all.
Just the score just blows my mind. That's not what you want to see in a championship game. And I'm interested to see, we'll get the official ratings report tomorrow, how many fans were still watching that game to the end. I don't know.
Not a good amount.
Whatever. But we hope you keep watching. We have a lot more to go, and we're going to get to the fact of the week now first, and then take that break as we always do. Social media handles, scroll at the bottom, Rich Mancuso, The Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Come on in, Avery. Fact of the week time. Favorite part of the program for both you guys. And here we go. Where's Avery? There he is. Hey, Avery. I'm going to tease him real. Avery, are you over the Packers' defeat and season over? Are you over Aaron Rodgers there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Rich, now it's my turn to tease you right back. I didn't realize the Green Bay Packers played in Milwaukee. But but no, am I over it? Yeah. I mean, we already lost to the Lions once already before Sunday, so I knew it was certainly a possibility. Am I over Rodgers in Green Bay? No. He's got 50 million why I shouldn't. 50 million reasons why I shouldn't.
I
be
agree.
Over.
He's coming back. True. Here's another thing, Avery. You can't be disappointed terribly, you or any Packers fan, and that includes Calvin also as a part of this broadcast for the SLG Network, because Green Bay did something I didn't expect. Wiz, do you agree? They put on a fight. They came on strong because they had a horrible start. Never thought Green Bay would still have a shot going into the last game of the season.
No, that's a good point. Honestly, it reminds me of that season when Aaron Rodgers said, we're going to run the table, and just miraculously enough, they made the playoffs. So I thought we were going into the postseason with Green Bay Packers playing.
Would have been nice to see Aaron Rodgers back. I think he'll be back next year. Quarterbacking the Packers, whether they go to the playoffs or not, I don't know. That's not our. We don't make those decisions. Anyway, this decision.
I looked at the schedule for next year.
You're already jumping ahead. Do they play the Cardinals? Do they play the Cardinals?
Yes, we do. We do play the Cardinals.
Okay.
I believe.
Oh, okay. We're still on the air with you guys next year at this time. We're at war, my friend. You know that. All right. Fact of the week. Here we go, guys. And here you go. Pay attention. And all of you out there in the queue, give us your answer. Bobblehead is still here to give away. Can't believe it. One city has won 3 major sports championships in the same year. All right? This is a fact. It is not trivia. Put up that fact of the week logo so we know, Avery, that it's fact of the week time. Did you do it already?
The week time.
Hey, hit that switch. I want to know it's fact of the week. So it's not trivia. One city has won 3 major sports championships in the same year. I need the name of the city. I need the teams, and I need the year. That's the fact. Take a shot. We go to our break. First break of the night.
I think it's Boston. It have been the Red Sox, the Patriots, and the Bruins.
No. You're wrong. Try again later. You Wiz?
I don't know what year, but I'm gonna go with Los Angeles.
No.
No?
Try again later, both of you. First shot, no good. No one else cued in on it yet, but we'll have the answer for you later, and you guys will give it a final crack. Think about it. I think it's a good question to get you guys, all right? Thanks, Avery. Back with you in a moment. And once again, this is Sports with Rich live on the SLG network. Oh, Avery seems so disappointed. He just disappeared like quick whiz. It's like he thought he's smart. SLG Network Live, Rich Mancuso, my YouTube channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. And we're sponsored by numerous people, including our newest sponsor, Skull Fuel Energy. You want a drink to give you some energy? There it is. There's a Skull. Try it. More about this in the weeks to come. Skull Fuel Energy. That's an official sponsor here, Sports with Rich and the SLG Network. And we come back. It's going to be Billy Capola talk more about Carlos Correa and also some other baseball news, including someone at the Atlanta Braves who's returning. Back on the other side after this is the Sports with Rich and Rich Mancuso. That's it with Robert Rizzo. See you in a moment. Do support our sponsors here on the SLG Network platforms. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. My channel, Rich Mancuso on YouTube and the SLG Network. I'm Rich Mancuso. That's it with Robert Rizzo. Welcome back to Sports with Rich. Let's talk more baseball right now. With no further ado, let's bring in our friend and colleague from LatinoSport.com, a baseball guy at heart all his life. And here he is from Los Angeles in the area of California. Do we have Billy Capola in the queue ready to go?
I believe we're working on it right now. Billy's having some
All right.
technical difficulties, but we could sort it out
Yeah.
right now.
All right, we'll get Billy in there. We're going to talk to Billy about numerous things. In the meantime, let's talk about some other MLB things that have come up in the past few days before the Carlos Correa news this morning. And, teams are still making their moves. Spring training camps open in about 39 days. So you've seen some late signings, including Johnny Cueto going to the Marlins. And all of a sudden, the Marlins have this formidable and good pitching staff with a rotation with Alcantara, Lopez, Lozado, Tanya Scott. All they need is some offense, and the Marlins could be contenders in that division with the Mets, Phillies, and the Braves.
They have a strong rotation just like last year and previous years. The problem is always the offense. Miami, led by Alcantara, you add Cueto to Lopez. That rotation's solid. They just got to get stars, offensive talent in that lineup to contend with a team like the Braves, the Phillies, the Mets, along with the Nationals. Because right now, those two teams, the Marlins and Nationals, can't be competing with the NL East. Those three teams at the top are just too tough overall.
No, it's unbelievable. Cueto's a veteran. He's in his mid-30s still. He's got some life left on a fastball and a sneaky curve. Always liked him. I always wanted either the Mets or Yankees here in New York to pick him up. Good for any team. He gives you some innings and he can compete. And now he's going to help the Marlins. He's going to help that pitching staff. He's a veteran. He's a leader. He'll help the young guys in that Marlins rotation unless the Marlins decide they want to make a trade for offense. And maybe they have rubbers now that maybe move Lopez. He's always in trade discussions with other teams.
Exactly. He's been in numerous rumors dating back to last season with the trade discussions. And along with additions for the Marlins, other than pitching, they added Gene Segura. So there's a little bit of offense. It's a clutch factor in the clubhouse, a leader in the clubhouse, leading the Phillies to the miraculous postseason and the World Series. But Gene Segura, he's like that glue in the locker room. So a guy like him in your clubhouse, it's a big positive for Miami.
Yeah, Miami did well in the offseason. They're one of the teams I think they're going to make a move because the pitching staff, if it lives up to expectations, they're going to give a lot of teams horrors in the National League East overall in the league. And remember, Major League Baseball, the new season, the new schedule, every team plays every team at least once or twice. And that's going to be interesting. That's something to look at along with the new rules in the new year. I hope we get Billy Capola because I want to talk to him about that. If we could get him in, he's dealing with some technical issues. I know the weather out west hasn't been too great. Hopefully that Billy's okay and everyone else out there that I know. The Yankees making some significant moves in the front office, Wiz, and I see why they're doing this. Because they're looking to go more into the international talent pool, where a lot of teams are doing. Well, first, picking up Brian Saban, the Giants executive, who's a Yankee from the beginning, back with Brian Cashman, good move. And decide if there's a decision to Cashman finally wants to step away, or the Yankees say enough of Brian Cashman, well, Brian Saban could be a perfect replacement. But this caught me off guard, okay? He went cross town. He was working with the Mets, and then he was also an MLB executive and with rules and things like that, overseeing players and stuff. Omar Anaya, who's excellent with the international talent pool, in particular with a success ratio of drafting players out of the Dominican Republic. Remember him with the Mets, Wiz, what he did?
Yeah, I remember.
Very instrumental, even with, guys. Look, Ahmad Rosario is one of them, and Jose Reyes was another, I believe. But Omar Minaya now an assistant to Brian Cashman as well.
It's a huge move for the Yankees and front office regime as a whole. It's a different thought process, I think, with Brian Sabean paired with Omar Minaya right next to Brian Cashman, because you look at everything in the American League, it's Astros, Yankees from the beginning of last season to now, and it's the same thing. What has the Astros been so great at since early 2010s? That's drafting Latin American talent. So hopefully Omar Minaya, along with the Yankees, can do that same thing that the Astros have been doing, drafting the Jeremy Peñas, scouting those guys. Yordan Alvarez, that mega trade that no one saw coming in 2016, it was just a sleeper trade. And now you look, He's one of the most elite power hitters in all of baseball. So what the Astros have been doing, I believe that's what the Yankees are trying to get to with Omar Minaya.
Well, they got the right guy, Minaya, because he's well respected in baseball overall, and in the Dominican Republic. He's even more well respected because he knows talent. His son, by the way, has become a great player in college basketball. I forgot what team he plays for, but he's a standout All-American right now. I forgot. I forget. Just eluded my mind right now. But regardless, Omar Minaya is a baseball mind.
Definitely. He's worked with 5, 6, maybe 7 different teams, along with Major
even
League
the Padres
Baseball.
at one point he was there. So Yankees made some good moves getting Ryan Sabian and Omar Minaya. Let's look at the Dodgers. The situation with Trevor Bauer. Will this drama finally end now that he's officially been released?
Ooh, that's a big question, and a big question for Dodgers fans out there, because honestly, they wanted him gone from the beginning. All the details that came out about the suspension and stuff, fans wanted him gone from the beginning, and Dodgers stuck to it. They're one of those franchises, they don't do anything related to domestic violence. Once you're in that sort of atmosphere, you're done with the Dodgers, and they proved it again. They cut ties with him when it was needed, January 6th, I believe the deadline was, and it saved them money. So overall, you look at the Dodgers and what they had to do, they're still the top favorite in all of baseball, along with the Mets, the Yankees, the Astros, you name it. But overall, they had to get rid of Bauer and just get that bad juju out of the clubhouse before spring training comes along.
Another question I wanted to ask Billy Capola about. Hope he does log in because Trevor Bauer still can pitch and can help a team. And the question is, and Wiz, comment on this, do you think Trevor Bauer will sign on with anyone with all this bad history with him?
I think that's the closest coin flip in all of baseball right now. I think it's 51-49 if a team's going to take a shot on him. And for Bauer's sake, he's only going to want to sign with a contender. He's at the age he wants to win a World Series title. He has a Cy Young on his resume. He has an ERA title on his resume. So he's done it for himself. He needs that World Series championship. So honestly, you look at the contenders out there, which fan base is going to want him? Which front office is going to be willing to take that hit and that PR hit, the fan hit, by signing Bauer? There's not many out there.
Well, the Mets had a chance a few years ago under the Wilpon ownership regime, and they were smart. That was a smart move. Don't touch him. And had they touched him, they would have been in more of a mess. Okay? So we remains to be seen where Trevor Bauer is headed. And also, I got to ask you about the off season so far as we gear up, and now the holidays are over, and the spending sprees are just about. Big spending sprees are over. Trades are going to happen. We've seen a few more of them today with some teams with not big names involved. Who do you think so far came up winners in the offseason so far?
So far, the biggest winners to me are the San Diego Padres, the Philadelphia Phillies, and you got to pair in the New York Mets before the Correa news went down, because honestly, they added Justin Verlander. So that replaces DeGrom. They got Diaz back. They got Nimmo back. They got Quintana, big fourth arm in the rotation. Add in Senga. So honestly, the Mets right now, as is, they're top 5 in the league when it comes to betting for the World Series, and top 3 when it comes to betting the National League.
Well, you got to look at that division again. The National League East, to me right now, the best division in baseball. You read my column on NewYorkSportsDay.com. Posted, and it should be up there within the next hour. And I discussed this. The Mets losing Correa is not going to impact them as much as fans think, as I said earlier, Wiz. And but you look at the Phillies, what they did, and you look at the Braves signing their youngsters to long-term deals that are going to be big superstars in the years ahead and players in that division for a long time. And the Phillies getting the shortstop they wanted in Trey Turner for a lot of money. And the Phillies just kept willing and dealing. I think they got a Soto from the Tigers as one of their bullpen guys. The Phillies are a team that want to go back to the World Series. Right now, they got it to do it.
Definitely. They have it to do it. They lost – who'd they lose? I'm blanking on the name. David Robertson. They lost David Robertson and added Taijuan Walker, Matt Strahm, and Gregory Soto. So losing one guy to gain 3, that's a big move for the Phillies. They're
Yeah.
contending in the offseason as if they're a World Series contender, and you don't see that at Philly that much. And when they do it, they're sparking big time. Bryce Harper 5 years ago, 4 years ago, now adding Trey Turner, 2 $300 million deals.
So Harper's not going to start the season on time. He probably won't be ready till late June, early July, coming off his Tommy John, I believe, right? Was it Tommy John surgery?
Yeah, I believe the timeline is early June, perhaps early July, because Tommy John's tricky, and that's a big boost for Philly that there's a universal DH. It helped them last season. Now it's going to help them even more in 2023.
Regardless, I think the National League East, the best division in baseball with those 3 teams, and it's going to be a dogfight to the end. I believe all 3 got their needs, whether the Mets had Correa or not. And again, I will tell you, 100 wins for the Mets last year, and the complexion of this team really didn't change that much. All right, do we have Coppola? Is he ready to come in with us, Wiz? Do we have Billy Coppola yet?
Not yet. I believe he's having
Still
some
login issues,
but we'll try to get him on.
Well, we'll try, and if we can't, we'll book him another time because there's always room to talk baseball, especially with Billy Coppola, right, for LatinoSports.com.
I'm just
social
getting
media handles. Yeah, go ahead, Wiz.
I'm just getting the update. I believe he's here in the cube. Our producer Avery just texted me. He's here.
We'll be running a little over with him. We won't do as much as we wanted to. We'll get his opinions on what we discussed. Hopefully, Billy could log in. Social media handles at the bottom of the screen. Ring786 at Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. And the Wiz can be reached where again?
Follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all 3 of our daily content on Latino Sports.
All right, there he is, Billy Coppola, good friend of the program, good friend of mine for years, former scout, Major League Baseball scout, and now he's a writer for LatinoSports.com, where Biz and I are co-editors of the site. Billy, thanks for coming on. Sorry for your issues, but us old guys have these technical issues. You know that.
You're going to cut me short. I'm done.
Great start.
Way because we're getting in late. You're getting in late. Wiz and I were banting around waiting till you come on about certain things. And briefly, your opinions on, and brief, Carlos Correa.
Carlos Correa, wow. He actually ended up with a better deal, it looks like, money-wise anyways. He's got that vesting thing on top of that $33 million he's going to get every year. So that could end up a big thing for him. But the fact that the Giants had a problem with him, the physical that he took, something the Mets obviously did. It's kind of the craziest free agent signing I've ever heard of. And guess what? He has to pass the physical with the Twins. This might not be over yet.
No, I think the Twins said that they didn't know enough about him to not worry about it.
Yeah,
and I knew the Twins were back. I knew the Twins were backdooring into this right away. He's comfortable there. You'll see my column on NewYorkSportsDay.com. He's comfortable in Minnesota. He opted out to get more money. He's still getting a lot of money, just not 12, 13 years, but rather 6. And he doesn't have to get a physical every year like the Mets want. Look, you've been around this game a long time, Billy. You've never seen anything like this.
No.
You, as well as I know, how many times we talked in the press box, how long-term contracts could be detrimental. And in this case, that's what the Mets were looking for. There was a risk.
Yeah, the Twins actually, they came to the right terms. I don't know how they were able to do that dealing with what's his name there, his agent, Boris. I mean,
Scott
he's
Boris.
a tough guy. But you know what? That's a done deal. He's gone. So what? Now, who do the Mets have to play third base? I don't know if I missed part of whatever you guys were talking about, but I mean,
Escobar, the young Beatty. They don't have to worry about that. They have a third base.
144 with 2 home runs. Give me a break.
Yeah, but give the kid a chance, Billy. He's a kid. He's one of the top prospects.
It's the big leagues. It's the big leagues. Show me right now. You got all these young guys that can get the numbers up.
With or without Carlos Correa, do the Mets have a World Series team intact right now?
Oh, sure they do. They still do. I mean, Escobar, what he hit 20 home runs last year? That's
Just about.
55. He's a solid third baseman. That's not a problem, but they could have made it a little bit easier for themselves. But no, they've made a lot of really good moves, and I don't think they're done yet. The only thing that the only possibility, I don't know if they would have gone for it, was in trying to elongating this whole process. They missed out on Justin Turner, and Ivan Longoria as far as third baseman, if they were looking to upgrade for even a short period of time. Turner, he signed for 2 years with the Red Sox, so they missed out on that. And the other thing is, the only other big bat that's going to come along is going to be Manny Machado if he opts out next year. If he doesn't, he's going to get $170 million for 5 years. Is he going to take that? I mean, is he going to move? I don't think.
I think he will.
The San Diego will never let that happen.
Yeah, and the Padres. Well, look, they've spent a lot of money too.
Yeah,
so
they're not going to let that happen.
That Steve Cohen will open up his pockets if he knows Manny Machado's available, and he'll pay. Getting older in age, but still one of those dynamite players you want on your team.
It's a tough debate because we just saw Correa at 28 get that offer from the Mets. Machado, I believe, is 31, turning 32 soon. So just like that. But we mentioned the Padres, and they're similar with the Phillies spending-wise. You look at that division, the NL East, call it the gauntlet if you want. Braves, Phillies, Mets. If you had to rank them today going into pitchers and catchers reporting, what would you rank them as with the Correa move falling back to Minnesota?
Oh boy, that's a really good question. I still like the Braves. I think they're making good moves. They're solid, and they've been there. Phillies. Well, the Phillies were in the World Series last year, and getting Trey Turner, that's going to make them so difficult. This is a tough one to call. Who's at the top right now? Whoever doesn't get hurt is going to be at the top. That's the big
key point. Harper about that as well.
Yeah, talking about Harper, that's a big one.
You got to play under 62 games. Complexion of one injury or two changes everything.
But like what you mentioned about Harper is going to be a big deal for the Phillies. I think that's a tough one because he played last year. DH and he's hurt, but now he's. What's he going to be out for almost half a year now with that?
Yeah, at least June, perhaps
probably
July.
not until July, end of July.
That's going to be very interesting, But the Phillies are tough. That's a tough one. I don't really have a definite. These guys are at top. They all improve. Well, good. This is a good race. It's a good division.
The Braves, a team real well, having been working with the organization with the late Tom Giordano, T-Bone. The head scout, who's we miss dearly. We still do 3-4 years now. He's gone from us. But they got this thing about signing young, long-term guys, long-term contracts, which can only make them. I think it's a great move what they're doing with all these young kids.
Yeah, I think we talked about it with John. John Hart is the guy that started that in Cleveland, with locking these young guys up long term before they became free agents. And you got one sitting there in New York, Alonso. You better lock him up right away. Give him $22 million for 8 to 10 years. I mean, that guy has more home runs. He has the most home runs in baseball since he was a rookie. Think about that. You got to lock this guy up. Don't let him. Cohen will never let it get to the Yankees thing where they did the Jeter, like they did the Judge. That's not going to happen. And he's got the money. I see that coming soon. But that guy, there's one right there, boy. You lock him up, you're looking pretty good. They didn't do it with DeGrom. DeGrom came along a little later, so I can't really put him in the same category. He didn't start as a 20-year-old, but. And they had different owners, So, locking them up, really early with, like they got Riley and Acuna and Albies and all those guys are like they're 21, 22, 23 years old.
Yeah, all under 24. That core.
You got to be kidding. I mean, they're and the next one they have to lock up is Max Fried, which they probably will. but they won't let you know
Yeah.
about that until after they do it.
That's true. You'll
Billy
get the press
Capola
release
is
an hour
out,
after.
Yeah, you will.
The
Billy
Braves, to
Capola,
me,
Guest Sports with Rich. That's Billy Capola, LatinoSports.com, a columnist, longtime baseball scout as well. Billy, the league itself, baseball, and all these long-term. We haven't talked much about this. Are you amazed at the length of these contracts this year, the longevity,
absolutely.
the money, and you know that the Mets and Steve Cohen have led the pack. The richest owner in the game has the ability to do that. And are you for all this spending? You and I talk about this in the press box. We don't like it so much, but hell, they're all doing it if they got it. But some teams refuse to do it, including the Marlins, including the Rays down in Florida, down in Tampa Bay, St. Pete, and the Oakland A's and the Reds and the Pirates. They won't do this. And I think
that's why they're not in the World Series.
I know, and I don't think that sits well for franchises like that.
It's the stake, the bar has been raised. Let's put it that way with Cohen, and he's got these other owners fearful of what's going to happen to their organizations if they don't start spending money. The Red Sox, by the way, are not spending money, but you got owners there that are involved with soccer and all kinds of other things.
They got the Red Sox. They got to do something.
Yeah, they don't care about winning anymore.
They're shortstop. They spent a lot in him. That's exactly my point. Billy. That's a guy they invested a lot of money in. Trevor Story. He's got Tommy John surgery coming. He's out for the year.
So they got Sale. What do you do with Sale too?
And just like you said with the Mets, they have to lock up Alonso early, like the Braves did with all their key guys. What if the Red Sox a year ago today signed Bogarts to that extension? They'd be out of this issue. They wouldn't need Story. They could have extended Devers and go with that core. But you just see how organizations change. It differentiates. Like, for example, the White Sox largest contract is Andrew Benintendi in the history, $75 million. The Mets just gave that to Kodai Senga, yet he's never pitched in one inning for Major League Baseball. So another question is, where is the elements? Where does the end all be all with these owners? 3 of them are spending like crazy, yet another 27 of them aren't spending at all.
Listen, every time you go to a ballpark, look around and just think, how much money are these guys making? I mean, they make so much money in that ballpark. And you got one guy that actually wants to spend it. It's not all his money. And the spending of the money is off the charts. It's hard to comprehend exactly all the money that they're talking about with these guys. You're giving guys 30, 28, 30, 40 million dollars that you got to be kidding me. And the good point also get back to what Rich said about the longevity of the contracts. Too long. They got some special deal with the nature or something that these guys are not going to get hurt. They're not going to decide that
they must have insurance from this.
Yeah,
they must
I
have
know,
big
but
insurance.
The longevity,
we know that.
I understand the guy. He's signing Verlander and Scherzer at their age. That's different. They just signed them now, 3 years. But you're talking about they're signing guys, especially a pitcher. You're signing guys. And they expect them to pitch when they're 38 years old and be like Scherzer and Verlander. It's not going to happen. Some of these guys, but their money to throw away. Their money to throw away.
To lead us to what we let off,
keep raising the prices of the tickets and everything else.
No, that we know is inevitable. To lead us to what we started with Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
This doesn't hurt the Mets. That's my attitude about it. They will be fine without Carlos Correa. They won 101 games last year without him. Mm-hmm. And the team really hasn't changed that much. There have been changes here. The bullpen, no Jacob deGrom, but still, with or without Correa in the lineup, which no doubt would have made them better, would even more. Now they could use their money now, go get another bat that's available, make a trade. They need help at the DH, without a doubt. And get another bullpen arm. Left-hander, Zach Britton. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, you know what? That's you're right in that respect. The problem is that the get back to the Phillies and the Braves. They got better, and the Braves also won 101 games. The Phillies were in the World Series, so Correa would have been something that would have been.
Yeah,
that was a big insurance thing for them as far as being able to compete for 162 games. Got to get to the playoffs. I mean, nothing else. 162 games, you come in first place, you win 101 games, and boom, you're out after 2 games. They can't afford to do that. And the only thing though is, like you said, the 162 games. Is he going to be okay at the end of that time? And can Scherzer and Verlander at their age pitch 7 innings in October?
And that's a good point. And I'm not crying for Correa.
You sound like you're crying a little bit, Rich.
No, I'm not.
Just to switch sides on New York, the Yankees have been making inside hirings with the front office. Brian Sabian, we mentioned before, Omar Minaya.
That was big. Yeah.
So I wanted to get your scouting perspective on Omar Minaya and the significance on adding him to the Bronx.
Wow. He's got a pretty good track record in baseball. Good guy. I'm not too sure how much of these 2 guys with the analytics, how much they are. Cashman is an analytic guy. He bought into it. He sold his soul to that, and he won't take anybody on. And I don't think just for the analytics. I think he brought them in there to save his job. I think because I think he's running out of ideas. I know that when Gene Stick Michaels was running the whole thing, they were winning, and he took one stick left. Here we are. Left. He died. But
I agree.
Cashman he's a brilliant guy, but he's just. I think he's scrambling right now to save his job more than the Yankees. He's a tough guy. He'll never admit anything like that. But because those are 2 guys that are going to help that organization really a lot. They really are. They know baseball. They know the old school of player development and things like that. We'll see. But those were 2 really. That was like signing a really good free agent, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It was like signing a free agent or 2 and maybe an elite free agent, because Sabian and Minaya have elite resumes to begin with. So going back to Minaya, specifically on the Latin America scouting department, what can he bring to the Yankees? Because you look at Houston, since 2010, every year they're drafting, scouting the top elites from these countries. So what can the Yankees with Minaya do regarding Latin America scouting?
That's a good point. He's involved with the Latin American communities and as a whole, and he knows the players down there. How much he's been doing in the last 5, 6, 7 years as far as going down and looking at talent, or who does he know that he trusts their opinion, scouting wise, for instance, on these young players down there. I just wrote an article about a couple of 16-year-olds and a 15-year-old. That sounds like crazy, but guess what? The scouts that are looking at them, they know what they're looking at, and guys like Minaya, like I said, they know people that they can trust and get information that way. You want somebody that knows Latin America?
That's him.
Hire John Coppola, who's just reinstated the baseball.
I want to talk about that. Look, Billy, you segued me right into what I'm going to ask you and let you go after this. Yep, the Braves, the team an organization real well, and this man, John Coppola.
Yeah,
a 5-year life. The suspension only lasted 5 years. A lifeline ban because he was. What was he doing? Signing rules. He went against signing rules.
They would sign it. They only had
13 and 17. How well do you know this guy? And I know you do. And what was the impact of all that? And how does it help the Braves now with back in the fold?
I'll tell you what, when they first came out with all the sanctions that they had and all the draft picks they had to give back and the money, and the guys got lifetime suspensions and blah, blah, blah. Guess what? They ended up winning the World Series, and they're doing pretty well. So, and that's a testament to their player development and their scouting. That's it. You know, and those guys, guys don't just fall in their lap. You got to go find them. He just got caught up in what probably lots of other teams are doing that they didn't get caught, where they were, and you probably know the story where they're going to offer, they only have so much money they can offer somebody, but they really want to get him. So they take money from something else and to pay him. And just a big, it's like money laundering, I guess. But and he paid, he paid for the crime. The guy's a Notre Dame graduate, top of his class, and always wanted to be baseball.
Where's he going to fit in now with this Braves organization? Briefly, Billy, we got to run.
Where would he fit in with the Braves? I don't know if he's.
Where's he going to fit in now? Is he going to have his old job back?
No, he'll never be GM. Anthopoulos down there has gotten really successful. They're in good hands with him. I don't think you'll ever see him go back to the Braves. He knows a lot of people that have left the Braves that are somewhere else that are running organizations, and he'll find a spot. Will he ever be a GM again? Who knows? He might just get into scouting, but the guy is brilliant. He knows so much.
Yeah.
He
had a great track record. To rebound from this, but he's reinstated. That blew my mind too. I mean, today is, that us old timers are not surprised no more. We really aren't.
I'm always surprised. So I got
the column I wrote on Correa is posted right now on NewYorkSportsDay.com. I want everyone to take a look at it if they can. I go into specifics of what occurred a little bit. Maybe not as good as some of the big boys, but just as good, I think. Wiz knows that I'm never happy with my writing. I always say it sucks.
No, it doesn't.
I want you guys to take a look at it. And Billy, thanks again, my friend. We'll be in touch, and I hope to see you real soon. I haven't seen you in a while. You're out there in LA, and I hope everything's well with you, the wife, the family. And keep up the great work. Keep up the great work with your columns on LatinoSports.com. Okay?
Okay, cool. Great show, guys. I'll talk to you.
Thank you, Billy.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, Billy. Always good to see him, Wiz. Always good to get his insights, and we got him again from Billy Capola. One thing before we go to break, and we come with Keeping the Ring. We're running late as always. Now we are. We had about no tailgating. What was that all about? Avery, put that up. Some with no tailgating. What's behind this?
Yeah, so at SoFi Stadium for the College Football Championship, the College Football Committee, NCAA, deemed that there would be no tailgating allowed at SoFi Stadium before the game. No alcohol allowed, drinking in the parking lot. I can't imagine going to a college football game with at least having one beer, one alcoholic beverage. I'm reading up on the details. NCAA, the football committee, made this rule in place so all the fans there have to attend their pregame event and spend money at their pregame event. They say it's free. They say it's free, but no alcohol is free.
No. All about money, just like Carlos Correa and his super agent Scores. We're going to take this brief time out, come back. Brief time out, and I mean it because we got Keeping in the Ring coming up. And a lot of boxing news came out today. And also a major story, once again, breaking in WWE with pro wrestling. Buddy Ray here on the SLG Network will fill us in some more on that. Back in a moment, Sports with Rich. Like, comment, and subscribe. SLG Network, my channel, YouTube, and other social media platforms. Me and the Wiz, Robert Rizzo, back on the other side briefly after this.
The door and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here.
Number 2, Sports with Rich on the SLG Network, my channel, YouTube, other social media platforms. So there's Robert Rizzo. Our social media are being scrolled at the bottom. Do get in touch with us. Like, comment, and subscribe as always. And as I tell you, leave your questions and comments in the queue. Keep it in the ring time, Wiz. A lot of that with boxing. Besides Correa today, who had to annoy me because I had to come out today, it's a busy boxing day. A lot of news. First, let's recap what happened briefly this past weekend. A guy that you like a lot, Gervonta Davis, and Hector Luis Garcia on Showtime pay-per-view. Davis retains that WBA regular lightweight title. Devin Haney is the undisputed lightweight champ. Boxing politics, of course. Garcia didn't come out for the bell round 9, and he was cut, couldn't see. Davis's round 8 was all over Gervonta. Was all over Garcia. Now Gervonta Davis, pound for pound best, as he gears up for Ryan Garcia, tentatively set. And I say tentatively because this is boxing. The mega fight April 15th, pending Gervonta Davis's legal issues. He's got 2 or 3 more of them to hurdle over. And that'll be April 15th. So that mega fight might be on the way. We hope. Boxing needs it. What's your comments about Gervonta's first 3 rounds, 9 punches, 4 for 8, 69 power punches in the 8th round, 29 of 39. Garcia thought that, Gervonta said the fight wasn't as close as it was scored, though I gave him a decision about 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah, honestly, I was watching the late parts of the fight, and Gervonta seemed to control all of it. I watched the highlights after. Round by round, you said it, the power punches. Gervonta is just too tough down to it. And speaking of that star-studded talent of Gervonta Davis, the guy just does it too much. Highest grossing event of any kind in the 25-year history of Capital One Arena. $5 million in ticket revenue. Along with that, Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C., that's like a 90-minute drive from Baltimore, his hometown. That crowd was wild. It just kept going. And honestly, for April against Garcia, that's going to be a splendid event. Probably sell out the arena, obviously, break records like we saw with Mayweather and McGregor, similar to that. So April 15th, it's coming down to it. Right now, we're dealing with some technical difficulties. I believe Rich is trying to join back in the studio. We're going to take a quick timeout and flip over and resume our boxing talk along with WWE. Right after this, keep it in the ring.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone, rich and stacking to the ceiling. I'm dick long. Could never change the side I've been on. In 100 years, I'ma still be with my day ones. When it's said and done, fuck where I'm going, it's all about where I came from. You don't know.
What's good, everybody? My name is Caleb from the Bayou City Boys over here on the SLG Network. Happy to announce that we are now working with Dano's Seasoning. So if you're anything like me, you meal prep all the time, Dano's is the way to go, man. They got multiple flavors. Hit them up. Be sure to use our code SLG Network. Appreciate every single one of y'all. Peace.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone.
Tell me I have no idea what happened, Wiz.
Trust me, it's all good. Usually it's my fault. It's on my occasion, so I'm going to let it slide. No punishment for you this time, but if it happens again, we might have to get in the ring.
Well, technical thing. I mean, it's live. You know what happens. But good job by you guys going right to the commercial. I taught you well. We improvise, and we'll continue to keep it in the ring after Gervonta. I don't know. Maybe it was Carlos Correa, or I don't know. Maybe one of the boxing gods said enough.
I was literally about to say the boxing god saw me talking and was like, no, we're cutting Rich's stream.
Let's continue with the Gervonta Davis fight and what happened in round 8. The rapper Meek Mills and the fighter Gary Russell, the champion, and his friends. Total bullshit. They're cheering for opposing fighters, whatever, and there's a scuffle. The fight was briefly stopped by the referee. Gervonta also, the fight was stopped over commotion in the stands because there was a rapper getting involved with professional fighters, and there you go. And I'm watching this on Saturday night, and I'm going, holy, that's it now. I've seen it all. Enough.
Exactly, enough. It's a bad scene all around with boxing. We see it all the time. Rappers, boxers, they're getting into these altercations. Meek Mill, he's supporting Gervonta Davis. He's supporting Jaron Boots Ennis. And something like this has no means to be in boxing. And and honestly, with Meek Mill, you just have to think, you're a performer yourself. Do you want people interrupting your event? So just keep it as is. And honestly, it was just a horrific event overall. And Steven Jackson, a former NBA player, said after the fact, people in the local area were hating on Tank. And when he's doing something great, we can't stand by that. So by we, he meant him and Meek Mill. So just at the end of the day, that can't happen in boxing.
Well, when you want to know the honest truth was, up until that, I had no idea who Meek Mills was. I'm not into that rap craze. I'm not into that environment. I had no idea who he was. And yeah, something got to be done about it. It's a dark guy again. And when the cameras go to that action, instead of concentrating what's going on in the ring, something's deadly wrong.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, let's move on, because prior to Gervonta Davis, this young welterweight continues to make headlines. Jaron Boots Ennis, we know from Philadelphia. We've met him last year. First time he went the distance, but Kareem Trukadan gave him a fight because he ran away. Really didn't give him a fight. Ennis goes the distance, gets the win. International IBF title, alphabet soup, at his next step to maybe getting Victor Ortiz or Santantonos, and that could be a fight coming up. But then later today, the news revealed Keith Thurman and Errol Spence in that welterweight division pay-per-view fight in April. Not at welterweight, though. This is now 154. So that means that Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence fight may never happen, at least at 147. Doesn't look like it. Rather at 154, where Charlo's the champion, Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno's involved with that. That fight signed today. Thurman Spence. Ennis is supposed to get the winner maybe of Virgil Ortiz. Is mandatory now. And Sonodos. That fight is off, though, because an appendix attack. Santonis, that fight had previously been postponed. So the welterweight division is great. It's hot and heavy, but it's crazy. There's your example of it right now. But Boots Ennis, congratulations. He moves on. He's on his way, finally. Matchroom today, official on the zone. Nottingham, February 18th. Lehigh Woods, WBA featherweight title against Maurice Lara. That's coming up next month. We find out also later today. Jose Ramirez and Richard Comey, March 25th, Top Rank, ESPN. And no Regis Progress, the WBA champion 140, for either one. Maybe they'll get him later on. But Ramirez and Comey is a guy that beat that won that Teofimo Lopez defeated to get to his shot at Lomachenko and won that title. There's a lot of boxing news today. Let me continue this, and let's see what else do I have here. Jake Paul signs with Pro Fighters League, and he's now going in the MMA. He's going to box and be an MMA fighter because he wants Nate Diaz, Wiz.
Oof, that's going to be a toss-up. That's going to be a great fight because, honestly, every day on Twitter, they just go back and forth like it's middle school drama. So once you have it on Twitter sparking like that, you're going to sell tickets. You're going to sell pay-per-views. The numbers are going to come in. And that's what the Paul brothers do.
And what do you make of Ennis' performance? And is he destined to be a welterweight champion now?
I think he's destined. It's just a matter of time. The biggest factor into Saturday was the confidence boost, the confidence level out of him. You saw him through the walkthrough, the entrance. It's just confident structure from the beginning. Vicious body punches every round. 30-0 at 25 years old. 25
Went the
years
distance
old.
for the first time in his career, but it wasn't his fault because this guy would not make him fight. He ran away from him. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. So it
A
was
lot
like
of boxing news coming up today. The fights are being made by the promoters. We're at that juncture. We should have an active spring, April, and on forward in pro boxing. Of course, we keep you updated here on Sports with Rich /tag, by the way, Sports with Rich. Let's remember to do that as well. Let's get our wrestler. We're late on Ray. Let's bring him in. There's breaking news. Keep It in the Ring continues. Sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Let's put the logo up. Let's get Skull Energy. Let's get the skull up there, Avery. There it is. It's not the Fiend, Ray Wyatt. It's Skull Fuel Energy for all your energy needs. You need a boost. Get a can of Skull Fuel Energy. Hey, Ray, thanks for hanging in there. I know we've had you waiting. We've had some technical glitches as always. And we're going to be brief, but we'll get to what we got to get to. Breaking news was out of the WWE just an hour ago, Stephanie McMahon has now resigned again from her position in WWE because this man, there's the official statement, and good for bringing that up, Avery, because I didn't see that. And she retired already once, came back when her father, Vince McMahon, retired, and now Vince McMahon is back. It's crazy. The WWE is a soap opera. Ray, why did Stephanie, you think, give this up? Is it because of Nick Khan or because she felt her father did not belong back in the picture?
So here's the thing, right? You discuss, and thank you for having me again today, guys. It seems Tuesday seems to be for technical issues all across the board. I was no stranger to them earlier myself either. But getting back to your question, Rich, I think with Stephanie, with Vince now being brought back and brought back as chairman of the board again, and Nick Khan now being solo CEO of the company, Vince was mainly brought back for rights deals and to oversee sale of the company. And that's all he can do. He can't do anything else.
That was his in back in. He wants to sell the company. He resigns amid the scandal that's still ongoing.
Yes.
He robbed stock to cover it all up. And now it's totally perplexing to me. I don't understand it. And investigation still looms, apparently, with Vince McMahon. He's back, and that is a lot of concern. I talked to a couple of guys I know that are still involved, backstage involved in pro wrestling. And this is bad because the talent's been happy with Triple H, with creative control. You have Vince back there looming as a threat to come back. Do you think that happens?
Well, so the way that it's designed, originally the board shot down his first proposal to come back because he wasn't specific enough, and they felt that it gave him, if they had approved his proposal as it was, it gave him too much overreach, so they would have to worry about him trying to control the actual direction of the company. He then revised his statement. The board approved it. That statement then got sent out to the SEC. Now, he can't do anything other than what is specifically listed in that letter to the SEC. Otherwise, he will be charged federally for defrauding the SEC and defrauding a federal agency. Now, my personal thoughts in regards to Stephanie leaving, again, she had gone on administrative leave prior to all of this news breaking about Vince. We believe that she was brought back as a stabilizing force once all of this news came out about Vince and hush money payments.
Yeah.
And that's when she became co-CEO. And once Vince was out, she became co-CEO with Nick Khan. Now, with her father being back and Nick Khan being the sole CEO, because of her leaving, she felt that it was a good idea, especially if the company is going to be sold. So this action to me by Stephanie shows that they may be closer to a deal for selling the company far more than we believe.
Yeah,
Because
and
if
there's a
you,
lot of
if,
news about
and,
Disney,
and
maybe even Fox, all the big
Comcast.
conglomerates,
mm,
Comcast, and all that. But the Wish, jump in on this any way you can. You want
mhm.
Ray? Rumors are very strong tonight that Vince McMahon may already have got creative control back, and if that is indeed true, I don't know what changes, and I don't know what direction they're going, and the morale, most of all, the talent backstage, back in the back, will not be good at all. I thought Triple H has been doing quite a job improving with Raw and so forth. I don't even know why Vince, with his ultra ego, would even think of going back in with the reported thing that I'm here because we have to sell. I don't buy that at all. He's got a monster ego, and he's got an ego like people we know that have been out there in the I'm not going to mention names. I don't want to get political, but he's got an ego, and I don't think fans can forgive him for what he did. I'm not derailing or downgrading anything Vince McMahon did to propel the wrestling industry to where it is today. All credit where credit is due, but he's a shyster, my friend. You know that. And I don't buy this. I believe he's back in, and he's going to have creative control as of tomorrow.
Again, because of the proposals that he sent out to the SEC, I do not believe that is even possible. What he can do, as you know, because he is chairman of the board and he is there to oversee sales and rights and make the company as much money off of a sale as he can quote trim the fat. So a lot of those people that Triple H brought back that were originally cut by Vince and Nick can be cut on the grounds of trimming the fat. Now, if we see that could mean two things. That could mean that he is making a play for creative control, which again, he would have to submit another proposal to the board and to the SEC, or the sale of the company is a legit reason. We saw that when Vince was announced as coming back and voting himself in, that the shares skyrocketed and they made more money.
It's also WrestleMania season. That's his thing. WrestleMania is his innovation. Yeah,
I was gonna mention that. You look at the time frames of everything. We're about 2 to 3 weeks from Royal Rumble, 2 to 3 months from WrestleMania.
Yep.
Do you think that obviously this wasn't scripted to have this get announced, but what do you think about the timing of everything going on? Just a night after Monday Night Raw, and like I said, 2 to 3 weeks from Royal Rumble.
It could very well be the fact that he wants to be a part of the company for possibly his last WrestleMania. They have said that the sale of the company could take anywhere between 3 and 6 months.
Yeah. And there's also a Hall of Fame to him. You know, he's going to go in the Hall of Fame, and this will get him in there. And also work a storyline. They could make it, they always do, reality into a storyline. He's back, gets in the ring, gets cheered. Here we go over again. I don't know. To me, it's a shame. I'm
not ready
the
to.
morale of the company is not broken, and I hope that creative control stays in the hands of Triple H because there's been a tremendous change. You know that, all the fans do, and just hope it stays that way, Ray. That's just how I feel about it.
No, I hope it stays that way too. I hope Vince doesn't try to make a play for creative. Things have been going fantastically well since he's been gone. Just my advice, is just do what you say you were going to do. If you're going to sell the company, just sell it and be on your merry way.
Ray, Monday Night Raw last night, Uncle Howdy once again, and that's supposed to be now Rotunda. What was it? The younger brother.
Yeah. It again, we don't know for sure. Vincent and Bo Dallas have very similar builds, and they are very similar size-wise, height-wise. So again, it could be Vincent Marseglia from Ring of Honor. It could also be Bo Dallas. It could be both of them. Because if
it
you
might
look,
be, but yeah,
if you look at
it's
the
very
masks,
similar frame and the mask, right? Where is this going briefly, Ray? Because Alexa Bliss, we now know, is involved in this again.
Well, I think one of the bigger pages of this story has turned, and we see that Alexa has aligned herself, and in doing so has made a heel turn, which I think honestly is best for Alexa. Alexa, I think, works best as a heel.
She
just has that look, that
and
air
the Uncle
to it.
Howdy, the Uncle Howdy entrance is as dynamic as the Undertaker's was. Undertaker's all the time, but it's rivaling it right now in my book. Now, Seth Rollins out with an injury, says he'll be ready for the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble's just 3 weeks away. One of my favorite events on the WWE event calendar. The Rock, does he show up there?
Man, I don't know. Does his schedule allow him to show up there?
That's true.
I think that's probably the biggest question, right? Does his schedule allow him to show up there? Does John Cena's schedule allow him to show up at WrestleMania and face off with Austin Theory? Which, even though they haven't said that, that is seemingly to be the path that they are going. We saw yesterday with Austin Theory coming out. He starts off his interview, his monologue in the ring with John Cena's trademark, "The champ is here." And he says it in the same cadence, the same style that John Cena said it for so many years. And for people that aren't aware, when Austin Theory was in the Indies, he had a John Cena 2.0 gimmick. He wore John Cena's merchandise. He dressed like John Cena. He wrestled like John Cena. He kind of looks like John Cena when he goes all in on that. He kind of looks like John Cena. It's a little frightening, and I feel like that's where we're going with Austin Theory telling John Cena that he's a better John Cena than John Cena.
And I think, and another angle that is Bobby Lashley going back to the Hurt Business.
I'm excited for it.
Be done again, but that's good. And also, I still believe The Rock shows up at the Royal Rumble and is a part of WrestleMania. It's sold out already, both nights in LA. You know, Wiz, it's sold out 2 nights in a row at SoFi. It's unbelievable.
Makes sense after that turnout in Dallas.
Yeah,
with the
let's hope that
turnout from last year.
Yeah, let's hope that it doesn't rain like it did on the TCU fans, though, right?
That's true.
They're going to be in LA,
since
but then maybe
we have you here, will WrestleMania allow tailgating, unlike the College Football Committee?
That is so weird. Like, when did that become a thing? Tailgating and football is like one and the same. I'm pretty sure that they will allow it.
For sure.
AEW tomorrow night, and we're going to see Hangman Page and Jon Moxley. Briefly, Ray, thoughts on that on TBS?
I think that's going to be a hard-hitting fight. I think Page is going to try to get some receipts back. Will Moxley let him have the receipt? Only time will tell. You'll have to tune in and watch the match. But I do expect that to be pretty hard-hitting.
Yeah. 2 other big principles in AEW, and it's Bryan Danielson. This guy, the Yes Movement there in AEW. Bryan Danielson, let's put his image up, Avery. We got Bryan Danielson. Show on top of the rope. He's ever exciting. Still is with AEW, and his eventual encounter on the next pay-per-view with MJF. MJF, my hero, my guy, with the mouth, and he has the way of doing it when he wrestles. Very talented.
Right. I think this is going to be a fantastic collision between these two forces, right? You have Bryan Danielson, who we know can go for 60 minutes in an Iron Man match. We have MJF, who admittedly wrestled 6 times last year, 8 times last year. And people constantly call into question his ability to wrestle because he has wrestled so few matches. So I think inevitably that's what we are going to see. MJF, Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Obviously, you're going to see MJF go over, because why would you take the belt off of MJF just yet? And Bryan Danielson has gone on record to say that he's just there to put people over, man. He doesn't care about a title.
Ray, how about a triple threat? Me, you, and the Wiz one day.
Listen, if we team up against the Wiz, I think we got it. If the Wiz, if it's a free for all, I'm putting my money on the Wiz.
Who's the baby face? Who's the
baby face assassin, man? Baby face assassin.
All right, Wiz, the match is made. Are you gonna have anyone in the corner with you, or you're a tag team partner eventually?
I gotta think. I'll think of somebody. I'll think of a tag team partner for next week's show.
Yeah, he'll think of someone. Get one of his friends. That's I know him. That's what he'll do.
There you go.
By the way, go to another party together and leave me home. That's another story. Talk about it later. Ray, where do they reach you, my friend?
They can catch myself and my co-host / producer, Kevin Wilson, Mondays at 8 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. here on the SLG Network, youtube.com/the SLG Network.
All right, Ray, thanks as always. Great job. Keep it in the ring, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, guys. And congratulations on being co-editors
week.
LatinoSports.com.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that.
Thank you very much. That's more the Wiz's role than mine. I've been an editor too many times. He's doing the bulk of the work.
There you go. He's got to earn his stripes somehow, right,
great.
Rich?
It's
Exactly.
great. You got it, Ray. Keep it in the ring. Talk to you next week. As the WWE drama continues, Wiz, unbelievable developments. Vince is back. Stephanie goes. Anyway, what are we doing now? We're taking a break going into the NBA. Nobody beats the Wiz. Avery, what do we do? Talk to me.
We could do.
Or do we move on?
We could do a quick timeout and then switch it to NBA.
All right. Right, so we could refill our energy, and then let's sponsored by Skullfuel Energy, and one of the many sponsors of Keep It in the Ring. Put that skull up, Avery. Pull it up. The Skullfuel Energy, all your energy needs. More about that in the weeks to come here on Keep It in the Ring, and also Sports with Rich /talk SWR. Like, comment, and subscribe on the SLG Network and my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Brief time out. Back with this NBA. Nobody beats the Wiz. Stay with us.
Spending money like it's nothing. I don't have a budget. Please don't get offended when you see the kids stunting. Got my queens with me, but it ain't no Scarborough bluffing. See, I'm riding solo while dependent bitches cuffing. I got all I need, me, myself, and I just love it. I've been gone. Rich is stacking to the ceiling. I'm dick long. Can never change the side I've been on. In 100 years, I'ma still be with my day ones. When it's said and done, fuck where I'm going, it's all about where I came from. You don't know.
Type of a day, news after news, it just keeps coming in. What else? I just saw something. I can't keep track. I've been at it all day.
Hour by hour.
Read my column on NewYorkSportsDay.com. It's just been posted. It's up there. My thoughts on Carlos Correa, not a Met, and now, again, a Minnesota Twin. Make sure you get a hold of that. And like, comment, and subscribe here, as always, on the program. Our social media handles scrolled at the bottom of the screen. All right, Liz, let's go to the NBA. Let's take a look at some of the NBA news. We can't neglect the NBA, even though they're not making news right now. LeBron James and the Lakers has sealed that he's not happy. What's going on with LeBron and the Lakers?
So far, not so good with the Lakers in the 2022-2023 season. LeBron's been the LeBron as always. On the court, elite athlete, 29 points a game, 6.7 assists a game, 8.2 rebounds a game. Let me just say it again. The guy is 38 years old. Most players by then are coaching. So for LeBron to be doing that, he's 422 points away from breaking the all-time scoring record led by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So as much as the Lakers are 19-22, 12th in the West, LeBron, yet again, having a historic record-breaking year.
They keep winning, though. That may not last much longer. Kevin Durant out for the next 2 weeks. He's been a scoring machine, and he's got an injury that's got to take some care.
Big time. He suffered an injury this past Sunday over the win against Miami. He fell awkwardly, and then Jimmy Butler fell awkwardly on top of his knee, spraining his MCL. It was stated to be 2 weeks. It could be up to a month. So for Kevin Durant, a top 5 MVP favorite right now, 29 points a game this season, 56% from the field, career best so far. This guy Durant, if he's on the court, he's one of the best players in the league, and he'll lead the Nets to that second seed right where they are right now, and perhaps a long postseason run against the Celtics, Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
And we know why they're responsible for the winning streak and their run and what they've been doing. That's because Durant and Kyrie Irving have been on the court at the same time, scoring many points. And that's going to now maybe there's going to an impact. Let's see what this Nets team's all about in the next few weeks without Kevin Durant. The other side of town, New York, the Knicks. You can't make out this team. They're so inconsistent. Randall and Brunson. They've been doing it, but the rest of this team, you never know what you're going to get from this one, from that one. They are not consistent, Wiz.
They're not consistent at all. It's a flip-flop game by game. Is Randall a lead guy or is Brunson the lead guy? Last night, they lost to the Milwaukee Bucks 111-107. So when you think of that score, you're like, they were in it the whole game, 4-point game, and they lost. What happened? Randall, 25 points, 9 of 29, 1 of 12 from 3. Pair that with Brunson. Brunson carried the fort, 44 points, shooting 50% from the field. They lost by 4 points. Meanwhile, Brunson nearly had a 50-point game. So something's got to give in Knick land for Randall and Brunson. Those guys can't be the only guys. It has to be the other contributors, other role players stepping up, because at the end of the day, Randall and Brunson can only give you 70, 65 points combined. Who's scoring that other 35 to 45 points?
Not like in the desert with the Phoenix Suns, a team I root for. What a mess. Like the Cardinals in the NFL over there. A mess. Injury after injury, losing one game after another. They're going to fade away fast if this keeps up.
It's tough for all these teams, a lot of contending teams. Zion, the Pelicans, Suns, and Booker. You got the Nets and Durant. Everyone's taking these crucial injuries. So hopefully they go through it now. It's 1 month before the All-Star break. And then when we get to that second half of the season, everyone's full, ready to go with 20 games to go before the playoffs heats up.
And what about the Spurs and the Warriors right now?
I'm really looking forward to Spurs Warriors. It's happening this Friday night. You look at Spurs Warriors, you're like, why am I going to tune into this game? I get it. Truly, I get it. Spurs Warriors at the Alamo Dome. First NBA game for the Spurs at the Alamo Dome since 2002. They're set to break an all-time NBA attendance record on Friday. And right now, I just checked the seats. Tickets are $25. So if you're in the Texas area, if you're in the San Antonio area, you better get to that game. For $25, you're seeing all these stars, and it was just reported Steph Curry returns tonight. You bet he's going to play on Friday. So you get to see Steph Curry at the Alamo Dome.
Big boost.
Not many people can say that.
That's a big boost. That's a big boost for the NBA, Wiz.
Big time. They need a guy like Steph back, Zion, Booker, Durant, you name it. Once these guys get back on the court, as much as people want to complain about the numbers and the views, they get the numbers with that. You need the superstars. It's not the teams anymore.
And which leads to the proverbial, if I'm saying that right, question. What is the line on this game Friday night?
Honestly, I haven't looked at the line, but all in reality, I'd say Warriors are favored by 7, maybe 8. If Curry plays, maybe 8 or 9.
All right, Wiz, more on the NBA next week. Good job, as always. You're on top of the NBA more than I am. You're on top of all. There's a lot of things you're more tuned into than I am. You're a Twitter monkey. That's why.
I try to keep up, but it's tough. You said it. There's too much news going on.
Pretty soon, no more of the rookie reporter. It's going to be a year.
Oof.
A year in your young career.
I can't believe that. It's been a year. Nearing a year.
I believe it. I'm on the way out soon. I've been saying it, but I still don't have a date, but it's soon. All right, let's get to the favorite part of the program, also sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Put the skull up. Get your energy needs with Skull Fuel. Here he is, the fiend that he is, the Skull. But Skull Fuel Energy. Nobody beats the Wiz, yes or no? My favorite part of the program is along with the Wiz. Yes or no? Ask him a great question. He answers. He's good sport about it. There he is, the line in the middle. Here we go, Wiz. You ready?
I'm prepared. I'm ready.
I know you always are for this. Okay. The 17-game NFL schedule season just concluded. Is it too long? Does it make the season and the playoffs extend too late? Do you like it? Or would you like to see 17 games? I don't like it. I like the 16.
That's a great question to start off with. I do like the 17-game schedule, although it has to be an even number. I can't have this 10-7 BS at the end of the season. I need a solid 16 or 18 season schedule, just like that. Maybe a 10-8 is good, a 12-6 is good, but 10-7, it just looks awkward. That's not a complete season.
No. Question and comments in the cube. Like, comment, and subscribe. SLG Network, my channel, Rich Mancuso on YouTube. Other social media platforms, Sports with Rich /SWR. All right, Nobody Beats the Wiz continues. Wiz, the quarterback talk is going into this NFL postseason, the playoffs. Trevor Lawrence, Tom Brady. Unbelievable. He's back in it again. Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy, Josh Allen. Out of those names, what quarterback shines the most? Yes or no on either one?
Another good one. I think it's going to be Justin Herbert, and it starts on Saturday. I think the Chargers and Herbert are going to lead over Jacksonville and beat them on the road.
Him. I forgot about Herbert.
I think Herbert is going to take over that game, and he's going to have what Burrow had this past playoffs. Everyone was hyping up Burrow, but no one thought Burrow was that type of guy. And then the Super Bowl came along, and he clinched the AFC. So just like that, I'm going to go with Herbert and perhaps Brock Purdy. Let's see what Mr. Irrelevant has to do. 6-0.
That's the one I'm looking at. And Trevor Lawrence. Okay. Nobody beat the wish, yes or no. Another NFL question dealing with the NFL draft and the tanking that might have happened. Well, the Texans winning that game, giving you up air. It's a team you root for, the number one pick. So should there be different ways to determine the number one pick in the NFL draft? Ooh. Not using starters is one thing. There's always a question about that going to the final game. Tanking. Yeah. Should it be a different way?
I don't think there's a better way for tanking, especially in the NFL, because right now it's 17 games, 18-week season. So, like we said with Lovie Smith, every player, every coach, they get paid to win games and perform at their best. As much as these guys seem to be tanking, the Chicago Bears, they were tanking, but at the end of the day, they didn't have a great team to begin with. They were 3-3 to start the season and ended it on a 10 or 11-game losing streak. So as much as people want to say teams are tanking, I get it in the NBA, I get it in the MLB, but not NFL. These guys are going full force at each other. It's too difficult of a sport.
Nobody Beats the Wiz continues. Yes or no? Bill Belichick and the Patriots. Surprise, surprise. Not in the playoffs for the first time in a long time. You going to miss the Patriots and Belichick, Wiz? Yes or no?
I'm not gonna miss Belichick or the Patriots, but I'm gonna miss Belichick's sideline outfits in January. The big puffy jackets. He kind of looks like a polar bear in those things. It's like a heated pad under the jacket, twice the size as him. So if anyone knows what I'm talking about, those videos, those things go viral every January with the Patriots. So that's what I miss most, those sideline images of Bill Belichick.
I'm not going to miss them. I'm not. Nobody beats the Wiz, yes or no. Now, the last time an NBA player scored more than 80 points was just untimely death recently before Kobe Bryant's untimely death with 81. Now, the chances of an NBA player will score 100 points, yes or no, because the talent's been that good. 12 players, 50 or more, in fact, this season, have scored 50 points or more, which is unbelievable. The game, the shooting, the three-pointers, blah, blah, blah. What are the chances of an NBA player soon, a 100-point game? Yes or no?
I don't think we see a 100-point game. Perhaps we see an 80-point, maybe a 90-point down the line, but I don't see another 100-point game. 12-minute quarters. At the end of the day, all these guys are teammates. They're moving the ball. No one's shooting, say, 45 times a game unless you're Luka Doncic and you're put in that role. No, No defense.
Why I can't buy into the NBA like that anymore? All right. What were the most points you ever scored?
Me?
In a pickup game.
Well, up to 11. A game up to 11, I probably scored, did my impact with 2 points, perhaps 3.
You're better than me. I couldn't even see the hoop.
I'm more of a rebounder, although I'm short.
Yeah, no, I'm a nothing. Forget it. Nobody beats a Wiz. The final question. Now, you know, initials are being a part of your name. You know, I have a T in my name, Richard T. Mancuso. Do you know what the T stands for?
I'm going to take a guess. Is it Thomas?
Yeah, it is Thomas.
There we go.
You cheated. Somebody must have told you. What's your middle initial? Yes or no? Let me guess. Robert. Italians have middle initials. Robert Francesco Rizzo.
I would say you were close, but no, you weren't close on that one. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an L.
The Lion Rizzo? Robert Lion Rizzo?
No. It's Robert Lewis.
Nobody beats the Wiz.
Lewis.
Robert Lewis.
Yep.
God, was it Robert? I love what Avery's last name is. Avery Control. That's his last name. Find that out later. Well, you know, here's an initial I use in the business. I think you've heard me say it. KISS. KISS.
That's true. I've heard that many times.
What is it?
KISS stands for Keep It Simple Stupid.
And on that note, we're not stupid. But that's my slogan. Everybody be stupid for this week on Sports with Rich. Always a good sport at it. Wiz, great job here on Sports with Rich, live Tuesday nights here on the SLG Network. When we come back, like, comment, and subscribe as always. Back, we'll wrap it all up. Got some NHL news, a little odds and ends here and there on the other side. Stay with us.
The door and keep your eyes shut. The lights flicker, there's evil all around us. No one's safe from the nightmare. Cold sweat, so scared. Someone get me out of here. They say you better be afraid. The night's coming like fire from a hand grenade. There's no escaping tonight. It's coming alive.
As we go past 8 p.m. Eastern, third hour, I said to Avery we wouldn't do it, but we had some technical glitches this week, and we apologize for that. That's part of doing a live program, whether on live TV or here on social media or on the internet, as we are on the SLG Network every week. And my channel, YouTube, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe. Hashtag SWR. You might be seeing that in my postings. My content on NewYorkSportsDay.com, LatinoSports.com, among others. My latest column just up right now on the Carlos Correa saga with the New York Mets. Take a look at it. Ring 786 at Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, my social media handles. Wiz, co-editor of LatinoSports.com. Where did it get you?
You can follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, RRizzo4, Facebook, Robert Rizzo, and catch all my daily content on Latino Sports.
And co-editor, congratulations with me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I don't know how much I'm going to be co-editor, though, but, you know, you're more technical savvy. You know, I got this young guy looking at my work and making changes if they have to be done. How about that?
That's not me. Am I
not happy about it? No, I'm ecstatic about it because it shows he learned. And I make mistakes. Everyone knows that. We're sponsored by Skull Fuel Energy. Don't forget your energy needs. Skull Fuel. We'll have more about that in the weeks to come. We'll even give away a couple of great cans of that energy drink and tell you more about it. You'll start seeing a video that plugs Skull Fuel Energy on the program and here on the other SLG Network platform shows. Where's AP top 25? We got to get more into college basketball now. Conference schedules have started. Ladies AP 25 poll is up. Take a look. Houston, no surprise. They were my pick. I think they're the team that's going to go to the Final Four. Kansas, Purdue, Alabama, and then you're looking at Tennessee, and it's an open field right now. But UConn, a top 10 scorer, and Adara Sango, and UConn is on that resurgence phase. They've been through a lot in the last few years, but they're back.
Definitely, they're back. UConn's making some noise. 6th ranked in the country, just like that. It reminds me of the Kemba Walker days of UConn. But come on, top 5: Houston, Kansas, Purdue, Alabama. Alabama, the football school? No, the basketball school. Alabama.
Yeah,
those are the top. Those are the top.
Yeah,
those are the top 4. Meanwhile, they're combined with 5 losses. So it just shows how top heavy everything is. But then there's many sleepers out there. I believe there's Auburn being a sleeper, University of Miami, Virginia, Wisconsin. So there's a lot of outside of the top 10 sleepers within the next 2 weeks could be within that top 10.
Well, conference schedules are just heating up, and we still got a long way to go to the Final Four. March Madness. It'll be here sooner than you think. Take a look at the Houston Cougars, though. They are good dynamite. I watched them this week. Fast. They can score. No wonder why they're number 1. So Fordham in the Atlantic 10 got their first win up in the Bronx at Rose Hill, the oldest gym in the country. St. Joe's, their first win. They're looking better. Tonight they're playing Dayton. Do we have a score on that?
I believe
they were home against Dayton.
We just got the final on that. Dayton was 8-point favorites to begin. Dayton beat Fordham 82-58. It was a complete blowout, and Fordham just scored 18 points in the first half alone. So it dates back to our previous show. When Fordham's not executing that first half, the game's over. It's just out of reach. They put themselves in too big of a hole on offense.
That's a big loss against a perennial power in the A10 all the time, Dayton out of Ohio. That's a loss for them in the conference. And you wonder if this Fordham Rams team, we're talking A10 now, which is still a major conference in college basketball, NCAA Division I. We're talking about the Rams in conference play. That was the question. Remember the 11-1 start in the winning streak, and they were riding a high. They were playing non-conference teams, no major school. They're in a conference now, and they're not looking good.
No, not looking good on either side of the floor. At least they're looking competitive to begin with on defense, but offense, it's the 3-point shooting. Only Darius Quisenberry, he's leading them 17.8 games per game. But other than that, these guys got to step up. Kyle Rose, Nowitzki, Antrell Charlton, and all these guys were from last year. They experienced the A10 championship quarterfinals. So they know what that experience is like to get to the tested ground just like that in March. So they got to keep winning these games. They got to get over Dayton. They got to get over Davidson. Those are the 2 juggernauts right now in the A10.
They gave up 82 points tonight. That's a lot. They only scored, 55?
58. Didn't break 60.
58. And that goes to show how bad their shooting has been. It's been abysmal. St. Joe's on Saturday a little better, but they've been abysmal there. And let's see. They're in the thick of the conference schedule right now. All right, the NHL, and let's take a look at the standings as those Boston Bruins continue to be the team in the NHL to talk about right now. We'll have Avery Sarge on again real soon as we get closer to the NHL All-Star break. See if the Bruins can keep this up.
The Bruins have been impressive as heck to begin this season. 40 games played so far. It's basically half the season right there. They're 11 points better than any other team, 7 more W's than any other team, and they're just leading the way. Defense, offense, one of the best goalkeepers in the league. So just like that, the Bruins are leading their way to a long postseason run, and that's what the Boston Bruins are known for. You look on the other side, you got the New York teams, the Devils. They're 4th in the East right now. They've been on and off to begin. Rangers 6th in the East, Islanders 9th in the East. So perhaps we see 3 Eastern Conference teams from New York reach the playoffs. Maybe that's something we'll ask Ashley Sharge later in the program down the line, week by week.
We definitely will. The NHL will get closer to their All-Star break and an adult timer in sports, the month of February. All right, Wiz, let's continue, wrap this up. this came out. You know, I always come up with things because they're sent to me, and I feel they're informative enough to go on the program. States here in the United States with most sports betting, and in New Jersey, the most since 2018. How much you think this is not our fact of the week, but how much you think they pulled in since 2018 with betting?
I'd say at least 15 to 20 billion.
Oh, you're almost there. $31 billion.
Yeah, and
as big as the Mega Millions tonight, and which I didn't play.
New York for sure is higher. Year by year, New York's going to break records.
Well, Nevada is and Pennsylvania the third most money betting on sports. Nevada, I can understand with all the casinos in Reno, Las Vegas, between sporting events and the other things. And that's according to the Sports Book Review. That's where I got that from. Credit to them. But it goes to show you is a lot of money spent on online and off online gambling. And a lot of people are doing it.
There's people out there willing to bet on just ping pong. So anything that's on the TV, they'll bet. There's people out there doing it.
Well, I wonder if there'll be an online bet as to when Rich Mancuso is going to finally retire.
We're going to have to ask DraftKings, FanDuel, a big-time site like that to set you up with the line.
DraftKings, FanDuel, who the hell are they? You can't avoid them when you're watching a sporting event. That's the problem.
I know.
It's too much.
I feel like there's fans out there that know DraftKings more than.
I mean, you're watching boxing. It's ridiculous. You're watching Gervonta Davis the other night on pay-per-view, and what do you think they got? They got the online gambling expert analyzing prop bets.
The current line.
Steve Farhard, Boxing Hall of Famer, colleague and known for years, he's up there behind the scenes and he's doing prop bets, part of his analysis of the fight. I'm getting too old for this crap. That's what it is, Wiz.
Everywhere you go, bets are being made.
Oh, still, what a joke! All right, the NFL Hall of Fame, 15 finalists, including Joe Thomas, the 10-time Pro Bowl selection, and that'll be finalized. And even Darrelle Revis of the Jets would have stellar career in New York with the Jets. So look out for that in the next week or two. When are they announcing the NFL draft finalist? Who makes it in out of the 15?
I believe the Saturday before the Super Bowl. No, or the Saturday before. Yeah, Saturday right before the Super Bowl.
I know baseball Hall of Fame finalists. The Hall of Fame finalists for the 4 Hall of Fame inductees for the new class. That's coming out, I think, next week. So we'll look out for that, and let's see if any of these steroid guys again get in that are still eligible. So I don't vote for that because I'm not a member of that Baseball Writers of America, nor do I ever want to be. But anyway, all right, Sports with Rich. My sponsor, Skull Fuel Energy, and we're going to wrap it up with this. Let's bring in Avery, and let's get the fact of the week answer with you guys. Avery, how are you? Didn't see much of you tonight, but you're there. Manning the controls as usual. Great job, as always. Are we ready for
I'm always here.
All right. If guys have had plenty of time to think about the fact of the week answer, again, not trivia, fact of the week. And the question again, one city has won 3 major sports championships in the same year. I need the name of the city. Remember, it's a fact, not trivia. The city, the year, and the teams.
We did Boston. We did Boston, LA off rip. So those are off the list.
You got another one, Wiz?
This is a toughie. I knew you were going to come hard with this one this week, so I'm gonna go. I'm going with. I'll go with Tampa Bay.
No, it's not Tampa Bay.
No.
Nah.
Think about Tampa Bay. They're in the infancy stages of sports before a team. No,
Yeah, Lightning, Buccaneers, but no Rays.
Avery, one more shot at it. One more shot, Avery. No one else in the queue was able to come in and get it. Bobbleheads are still here.
It's not New York.
No, it's not.
And it's not LA.
No, it's not.
I feel like it's gonna be like an oddball. Like what about like Kansas City? I remember when the Royals won a weird one, and then like the Chiefs and.
No, it's not. I'll give you one more shot because we gotta go.
I'm gonna go with Chicago.
No, it's not.
Damn.
One more chance, Avery. Boy, if this was Jeopardy, I'd be fired as the host. You guys would be disqualified as contestants.
I'm not sure. I can't think of anything else.
All right. Here's the answer. One city has won 3 major sports championships in the same year. The city, Detroit. The year, 1935. And you know it's the Lions of the NFL. It's the Tigers in MLB baseball with their World Series win then. And the Detroit Red Wings with the Stanley Cup year of 1935. That's your answer to the fact of the week. Got it?
Ooh, I would never guess Detroit.
Well, it's there. That's a fact. It's not trivia. And that's it for this week. The two of you didn't get it this week. Try again next week. I'll warn you. Going to get more difficult week after week because they've been too easy on both of you. All right? Avery, my friend, thanks as always. Great job handling the technical glitches, the controls. Always great to have you be a part of the program. A great producer for me, Rich Mancuso, the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Next week, my friend, keep it in the ring.
Yeah, guys, have a good one. Keep it in the ring.
And good luck to your Packers. Not in the. Oh, I had to say that.
That was unnecessary.
Got to give it to him because one of my good friends in New York here is a big Packer fan. I've been giving it to him since Sunday. I know Avery's not coming back, but he'll text me. Did you have to do that? Well, anyway, Wiz, great 2 hours or more again with the glitches and all. Great job. Thank Billy Capola again for his insights on the Carlos Correa, the Mets, and much more. And Major League Baseball. We'll follow up more baseball next week. Next week, more NFL. We get into Wild Card Weekend. Enjoy that. We all will. I don't know when I'm ever going to see you again. It behooves me when I'm going to see the Wiz Robert Rizzo. It's just very hard right now with his schedule because he does other things besides this. But we're in touch. It's just that I don't see him.
I've been busy. I've been working, Rich.
Oh, well, it's nice to work and be busy, but you can pick up and come see me once in a while. No, we got a lot to do. We'll be covering things down the line. Because I got my best buddy, Josh, real quick. And we got to get off and just go with this. Josh is always saying, how come he ain't around? Where is he? And I keep telling Josh, don't worry. He's a young man. He's working just like you are. You know, we have lives. But I'll see you soon, my friend. Okay?
For sure.
I know you will. Yeah. And thanks again, Ray, for the Keep It in the Ring content. We're sponsored by, among others, our newest sponsor, Skull Fuel Energy. Pick up the drink, energy drink. We'll have more information in the weeks to come where to get it, find it, and enjoy it. And I've had some people have it already. Coffee's in that line as well. Look after that. NFL Red Zone is over. My Sundays are free. It's Wild Card Weekend. We'll get back to that. The NFL postseason. I want you all to enjoy that, plus much more. Read my content on NewYorkSportsToday.com, LatinoSports.com, where I'm co-editor with The Wiz, Robert Rizzo. A social media handle, Ring786, Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, and subscribe on the SLG Network platforms and with Sports with Rich, /SWR, as well as other social media platforms. And Wiz, again, where did they get you?
You can follow me on Twitter, RobertRiz994, Instagram, rrizzo4, and on Facebook, Robert Rizzo. Catch all my daily content on Latino sports. I'll be writing about Correa tomorrow, so that will be up shortly, probably by tomorrow, Thursday.
And Ray from Keep It in the Ring, our segment says the rumors are that the WWE sale is going through already. And he says, hearing that rumors, no and rumors, but looks like that this is coming from a good source in WWE that the sale with WWE that could explain why Stephanie stepped aside. But more on that next week. Watch social media. I'll have more about that. Very interesting development going on. And it might be sold to the Saudi Arabians, where WWE has a big interest, where they make a lot of money. I don't know what's going on there. Watch social media. Watch our handles. We'll have it as part of Keep It in the Ring. That's it. That's a wrap for this week. Thank you all for watching. As always, keep supporting us. We appreciate all that loyal support each and every week. Live Tuesday night on the network, 8 p.m. God bless. Stay safe. Be well to all of you. Most of all, be good to each other. And Wiz, what do we say to sign off as we always do?
As always, keep it in the ring.
Keep it in the ring, everyone. Till next week. Sports with Rich Mancuso, and that's the Wiz, Robert Rizzo. Good night. Talk to you next week. Father.